everyone. I hope that all of you are doing well. My name is Katarzyna Hubas, ITTF Continental Development Manager, and I'm really delighted to be with you today. ITTF, HPD, and I would like to warmly welcome you on our 21st ITTF High Performance and Development webinar with the topic Para-Table Tennis Integration in Member Associations. Our team is doing every effort to stay connected with table tennis family around the world and provide you with the best possible educational experience through our online initiatives. Therefore, I hope that you already had and you will have a great and beneficial time experience during our today's webinar. Before we start, I would like to talk shortly about our webinar Q&A code. Please leave your questions in the Q&A section. You can find it on the right side of your screen, and we will try to respond to as many as possible in the question and answer part of the webinar. So over to the introduction to our today's guests. I would like to kindly welcome Ms. Hajera Kajee from South Africa. She is the Vice President of Administration of the South African Table Tennis Board, besides also ITTF Gender Commissioner. Daniel Ellermann from Sweden. He is a head coach for Sweden para-national team since 2009, participated in the two Paralympic Games, London 2012 and Rio 2016, and has achieved plenty of medals on the most important para events around the world. Last but not least, I would like to welcome Edimilson Pinheiro from Brazil, a former Class 9 para player, table tennis manager for the Rio 2016 Olympics and Paralympic Games, and the current technical manager of the Brazilian Table Tennis Confederation. In addition, we will have also a short presence of Mr. Alaor Acevedo, President of Brazilian Table Tennis Confederation, who will briefly introduce us to the PTT integration in the Brazilian Table Tennis Confederation. And I would like to thank to all guests for joining us today, and we really look forward to hearing from you. Last but not least, I would like to warmly welcome and introduce to you my colleagues who prepare and contribute to today's webinar. Dora Yeller, ITTF HPD Operations Manager, who is taking care of our backend, and also Pablo Perez, PTT Events and Classification Manager, who will be co-hosting today's webinar with me. So without further ado, I would like to over to Pablo.
Thank you, Kasia. Thanks a lot. Welcome to everybody. We have received a very broad answer from all of you. We have almost 70 attendees from almost 40 different member associations, so I am very glad that the topic has raised a lot of interest, and we have an incredibly variety of roles among the attendees. We have players, coaches, umpires, referees, some committee and board members. We have some federation and member associations presidents. That's very good that such a big variety of roles are present here. So before we start the discussion, I would like just to, for 3 minutes, I give some, not exactly definitions, but some introduction to the terms that we are going to discuss. The first question that we should answer is, what does integration mean? And I would like to clarify that this is not a binary question. When we speak about integration, the question cannot be answered as a yes or no. Has your federation integrated para table tennis? that's not a question that can be easily answered with a yes or no question, because when we talk about integration, we have to think about the rules, the officials, the coaches, competitions, the development, and some parts can be integrated and some others not, and the amount of integration can be variable among different associations. Even inside the ITTF, we are proud to say that para table tennis is integrated into the ITTF. We have to be honest, and there are some parts that have not been completed yet. Even if we started the integration in 2007, that is already 13 years ago, but some parts are not completed yet. So integration is a goal that is included in the IPC mission, and it's something that it's quite advanced all over the world. If we think about the past, with these graphics, we can clearly see that for the most part of the beginning of the 20th century, parasport was excluded. I mean, people with disabilities didn't have access to parasport. And eventually, we moved to a segregation state. Para-athletes, people with disability had access to parasport, but in a segregated environment, in completely different environment, in a specific clubs and federations for them. And well, if we advance in the process, then we talk about integration. And if we advance even further, we could talk about inclusion. This is a very complex debate that we are not going to enter today. But some para-athletes and para-organizations think that we should move forward and go towards the complete inclusion of parasport. And just to get an idea of where we are, if we have a very quick look to the Paralympic sports, sports that are present in the Summer Paralympics, we have two different models, not sports that are not integrated and sports that are integrated. So among them, we have the sports that are not integrated are under the governance of IPC or other international sport organization for the disabled. And the sports that are integrated, we have table tennis here, which is integrated in the ITTF, obviously, and some other sports that are very specific, that have very specific rules, or some of them, they only exist for people with disabilities, like goalball or, like boccia, for example. They have their own independent participation. So now we are going only to focus on table tennis, obviously, and we are going to speak about the integration process at national level. But this is just to give you a glimpse of how the integration process is in the different sports. So let's start with the discussion. Please, Kasia, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Pablo, for introduction to the topic. And yes, let's move to the main part of our webinar. So the panel discussion. We have a great pleasure today to host representatives from 3 member associations who went through a really successful para-table tennis integration process. Therefore, let's start maybe from scratch. My first question will be how did the integration process started? When, maybe also what was the trigger, and about the steps towards its establishment. This first question I would like to address to Brazilian Table Tennis Confederation, and as I know, Mr. Alaor will have for us some words and some introduction how it happened in their member associations. So please, Mr. Alaor.
Please, Edimilson. You have 2 phases in the history of Paralympic table tennis. One, 1970 to 1999, you have two associations, and Abradekar, and 2000 to 2007, you have another association, a Brazilian Confederation for Disabled People. In 2007, when ITTF assumed the control of table tennis, you approach the Brazilian Paralympic Committee to take control of table tennis. Then the starting point was exactly when you assume, when ITTF take control of table tennis, and the Brazilian Paralympic had one another body affiliate, and in this time you approached them and became affiliate. So our history started in 2007, 2008, and this is a brief history. In 2008, you have a medal, a silver medal in Beijing, and in 2007, 2008, you introduced a new professional management. You use the same route you are using for Olympics. You call high-level route that used by Mr. Michel Gadal for France, and you take the model, the Olympic model for Paralympic model. In London, you have a complete renovation, and 2013, you have two permanent training group, Piracicaba and Brasilia, and in that time, in 3 bronze medal in Paralympic in China, and finally, you have 15 gold medals in Toronto, 2015, and in Rio 2016, you have 4 medals, then the best result in the history. It's very important to mention, since 2006, when you are not take control of the Paralympic table tennis, the Brazilian team went to Montreal, Switzerland. They just win 4 matches, from 4 matches to 4 medals in 2016. Then that was our start in 2007 till now. About the starting point, I have already explained, and the steps. You use this route of high level for give the players a professional way, professional life, and of course, it was not easy. The Paralympic in that time understood that you are taking money from them. It was very difficult to convince the Brazilian players, Paralympic players, that you are not using them to take money. In the contrary, by opposite, you are bringing money to them. That's what happened today. You have a budget today, Paralympic. Edimilson explained after. You have almost the same budget for Paralympic table tennis and Olympic table tennis. I think this is, yes, you have in 2006, was affiliate to Brazilian Paralympic, and of course you sign a contract with them to take control of table tennis all over the world.
Mm-hmm. So some agreement has been made.
Yeah.
Would you like to add anything? Yeah.
Huh?
Would you like to add anything else?
No, that I think it's. I think you have today full. Very interesting. What Pablo explained. The parts of exclusion, segregation, inclusion, and today you are completely inclusion. You have a complete inclusion umpire, the same tournaments. You don't have separate tournaments. You have talent detection together. Olympic and Paralympic is very interesting. All the steps of the development you are taking together, Olympic and Paralympic. During our tournament, for example, the class 2 wheelchair can play in a normal Olympics. Then the Paralympic can play many competitions in the same tournament. is, of course, one of the reasons they get better. They improve during the last time. They can play a lot of tournament, not only against the wheelchair, but against the able people and standing people. That was very important. That's what I want to say. Thank you. Unfortunately, I need to travel now to São Paulo for personal reason. Tomorrow, my grandchild, by 4 years old. Then I must be today there to commemorate with her. Okay. Thanks. And
we wish
for the seminar. Edimilson knows much better than me about all the steps and all the histories who can represent us very well. Thanks.
We wish you a safe trip and thank you very much for joining us again, even for a short time. And we look forward to hear more from Edimilson.
Okay.
Thank you very
much. Bye.
Bye-bye. So the same question about how did it start, when, what was the trigger, what about the steps, maybe also who was involved, and about an agreement and a document has been signed, I would like to address to Daniel from Sweden.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, we have a very quick step in May 2015. It was the annual meeting of the Parasport Federation, where the para table tennis was a part of. And in May 2015, the annual meeting made a decision that every sport in the Parasport Federation should go to their sport federation. Every possible sport, maybe not the sports that like bocce or goalball, but table tennis, basketball, badminton, all the sports shall or must go over to the effectively sport federation. So after that decision in May 2015, one person, Mr. Dennis Lindahl, was co-opted as a member of the Swedish Table Tennis Federation Board in late 2015. In 2016, he was then elected at the annual meeting of the Swedish Table Tennis Federation. And in 2016, we also had a working group with people from the Swedish Table Tennis Association and the Swedish Parasport Association. So also in 2016, we made first a test year. All the fundings was going to the Table Tennis Federation. After 2016, 1st of January 2017, the table tennis was integrated in the Table Tennis Federation. So it was very quick process from May 2015 to 1st of January 2017. And of course, both federation wanted this. So of course, it was easier from the beginning. The main issue for this integration was the economic situation, of course, that the money that the Parasport table tennis was having from the Parasport Sweden was going to the Swedish table tennis. But once when that was cleared, 1st of January 2017, the para table tennis was in the Swedish Table Tennis Association. Mm-hmm. It was a quick process.
Thank you very much. Last but not least, I would like to ask Hajera, how was in South African table tennis board? Oh, one moment, I will help to unmute. Yes?
Oh, sorry. Good day to everybody. The South African Table Tennis Board integration with para table tennis started officially just after the Beijing Olympics. Prior to that, you had in South Africa that was called, it still exists, South African Sports for People with Disability, which was then affiliated with the Deaf Association, and athletes intellectually challenged belonged to a structure called DISA. DISA was the disabilities structure for all sports, be it the deaf, the intellectually challenged, or physically disabled. In South Africa, when we merged the Olympic Committee with the Para Committee, then, which became SASCOC, DISA fell away. So under SASCOC belonged all the national federations, Olympic, non-Olympic, recognized, etc. And when the ITTF started their negotiations with the international para structure, it made it easy for us in South Africa. So we officially had a memorandum of agreement signed in 2010. It was difficult because you had to bring in two organizations into one. There was resistance. It was the community that had participated before, that had all the facilities, but also understanding that we have two generations or two groups, or had in South Africa at that time, the ones that had everything and the ones that didn't have enough. The ones that had everything was more your affluent, your white community, and they had access to facilities, to funding, and so forth. The other community, which was predominantly the Black community, in the culture of Black people, disability has always been an embarrassment to society. So what used to happen, they used to hide these athletes. They never came out in the open to compete. So it was very, very challenging. Eventually, we signed the Memorandum of Understanding. We integrated. The para chairperson served on our national executive. And by 2012, we were then fully integrated into the South African Table Tennis Board. So we don't have a separate para table tennis in our country. They're all part of, we call it, it's all inclusive. So it wasn't easy because people come from different social backgrounds, from different economic privileges, recognition, but we are where we are and we're doing very, very well. Thank you.
Thank you, Hajera. It's very interesting this cultural problems that you had in South Africa when you started with the process. Very interesting. In fact, the next question is related to that. I would like to address it to Daniel. He already mentioned it, but maybe you can extend your explanation about it. The question is related about the main difficulties, the main challenges that you faced when you started the integration. You mentioned that it was a very quick process in Sweden, but I'm sure that there were some challenges. And how did you cope with those challenges?
Yes, before the 1st of January 2017, as I told, the main challenge was the economic part of it. Both federation was very positive for the change, but of course the economic situation needed to be settled. And we got a lot of help from the Swedish Sport Federation At the end, after speaking with both the Swedish Table Tennis Association and the Swedish Parasport Sweden, they made a decision that about the fundings for the next 3 years. So for 2017, 2018, 2019, we got a fixed amount of money. So we knew before we write the documents of the integration that what money we should have for 3 years. So that's of course was then it was easier to say yes, we're going through this. So they made it a lot of easier, and also they gave us also extra fundings for 3 years. So we knew that 3 years we will have no problem, and now we are getting the fundings like every other sport federation. With the parameters of how many gold medals you take or how many participants you have in tournaments and so on and so on. Yeah.
Oh, thank you. What about Brazil, Edimilson? What was the main challenge that you faced during the integration process?
I think the biggest challenge for us at the moment was because these people which were working with paratable tennis, they were not professionally, and but they have some money from the government, and they are not doing the right job. And there are many players which like that system because it gives them more freedom. As soon as we start to say, no, up to now, we go through a professional way, we have to follow the rules, we have to have things clearly, we need to have a competition calendar properly, we need to have a good classification system. It naturally has a shock with them. And it took some time for them to start to understand that it would be benefits for them. And it took, I would say, 2 or 3 years to them to start to understand. Because one of the points about integration that's important, not only the term integration, the Paralympic players, he needs to feel that belongs to the integration. If he does not belong to that, it's complicated. And what we have tried to do is we bring them together, we put them in our able-bodied competitions, we give them the same treatment. As soon as the time was going, they start to feel, no, I'm part of it. I think that's one of the most important things when you say about the real integration.
Yeah, that's a very interesting subject that you have raised. It is widely known that in their origins, parasport was managed by volunteers in most of the countries, and that change from volunteer job to professional job has its advantages and disadvantages, and it needs some time to adjust. Okay, I give the floor to Kasia for the next question.
All right. The next question is going to be appealing for the member associations who aim to integrate paratable tennis, or they're in the process. I would like to ask about the benefits and positive impacts. Also, it was mentioned some financial sources, maybe also some more sponsors appear. So I would like to address this question to Hajera.
Thank you, Katarzyna. The positive of the integration or the inclusion of persons with disability into the able-bodied is a financial support, recognition to say that yes, everybody is equal, in spite of one's own disability. So that has been very, very positive for us. We've got more government support, and when I go to meetings, government meetings, you still have some person saying that we are not part of the table tennis family that's inclusive. Then I've got to stand up and again educate them and say, you know, the integration and inclusion starts from the international. We, the first federation that has moved that way with integration of athletes or persons with disability at continental and now at national. So you will still have those challenges, but the benefits is that it's broken down barriers. It's broken down cultural barriers, especially for communities where a disability is looked at differently. And it gives the opportunity to those athletes and with families to say, yes, I have a disability, but I'm just as able and capable like any other person. So for us at the moment, it's very positive, especially from government and from the NOC. And we can only work harder on that. We have actually no separation. The para matters is managed at our national office like a normal thing. It's total inclusivity. So we're very, very happy about that. Thank you.
Thank you, Hajera. And I would like to address the same questions to Daniel. What are the benefits of para-table tennis integration in the Swedish Table Tennis Association?
Yes, I think it's a lot of benefits. First of all, the Swedish Table Tennis Association was very welcome. They have invested a lot of money during these 3 years. So in a financial aspect, we have a better budget for the national team and also for all the para-table tennis. Then, of course, the players now have easier to identify themselves as table tennis players. And I think they are table tennis players and not maybe like before it's para-athletes. Now they are table tennis players, and I think that's important. And we are more visible for the table tennis players and clubs in Sweden. We are in the homepage, social media, the table tennis newspaper. Before the table tennis community in Sweden didn't really know about para-table tennis. So that's a very good benefit. And of course, we have access more expert knowledge in table tennis with more coaches, more professional coaches. As you mentioned before, the para-table tennis was often done with coaches that was not professional. Now, for example, I work full-time as a para coach with para table tennis. Before the integration, I was working only 50% half-time. So, and also we had more professionals when we do tournaments. The championship is a lot better now for the para table tennis players. We do it together with the able bodies. And also we arranged the European Championship in Helsingborg, Sweden, 2019. I think that shouldn't be possible before we went into the Swedish Table Tennis Association. So I see a lot of benefits. 2017.
Thank you very much. Very encouraging for other member associations. And Edimilson, so what was the positive and what is actually the positive impact benefits in your member association?
Yes, I would say that we have lots of benefits. As soon as we had this agreement with the National Paralympic Committee, we have better funds support, and it makes us to have professional training, better tournament quality. It means that all these players now has the opportunity to play in good tables with good system. Everything's fine, and also we could give to the players more support. Those players which has talent, we can really invest in them and say, look, you can now be here for 4 years training. We pay you the whole thing you need. You just have to focus on that. And this is one of, I think, biggest point that make us to got this result that the president has said before. And another thing that changed a lot is the way we communicate para table tennis in Brazil. I'm one example of it. In 1999, when I participated in Para Pan American Games in Mexico, when I came back to Brazil, I said to people, look, I went to the Para Pan American table tennis. They're saying, what is this? This exists. So the communication now has changed. Everyone in Brazil knows when you say, this is a para table tennis players, and he can connect with the idea. And as soon as in our association we had already established a press and communication media, we could make this para more understandable for our society, and I think it was also very good benefits. In the overall, these are the ones that I would say and highlighted.
Thank you very much, Edimilson, for sharing. Before we go to the next question, I would like to encourage you to vote on our poll, which you can find also on the right side of your screen. The question is, what is the status of PTT integration in your member association? So thank you in advance. Yes, pass over to you, Pablo.
Sorry, I was muted. Cooperation with the National Paralympic Committees. They previously to the integration, they were either the governing bodies or bodies that were very important for para-athletes. And now this integration process is completed. How is your relationship with the National Paralympic Committee? Edimilson, you could start.
Yes, at the beginning, our National Paralympic Committee, they thought that thing has to change. That was the reason why they had agreed with us to pass the governance, because they understand that thing has to be changed. And since then, we are working together with them in all aspects, and we are really connected. And today, especially today, because in 2016 we have the legacy from the Paralympic Games. We have a National Paralympic Center in São Paulo, which is a very, very good one. And there we have a special place for table tennis. There we have our national team. They are training every day in preparing for the competitions. And I would say that the relationship with the National Paralympic Committee is very good. And I'm thankful for them, and I hope things can go the way it is.
Hajera, what about South Africa? How is the relationship between the South African Table Tennis Board and the Paralympic Committee?
Yeah, in South Africa, we don't have a separate Paralympic Committee and a Olympic Committee. It's one. So SASCOC represents the able and the para. It's very good. It's very easy. We have a member from the para community that's elected. He belongs to athletics, the Olympic member that serves on the Paralympic Committee of South Africa. The name is going to be changed from November, which will then talk about the South African Sports Confederation, Olympic and Paralympic. It will be incorporated, and that constitution will be adopted on the 7th of November. But if I may just add, I'm not, I hope I'm not answering a question that hasn't been asked. We have annual national championships for TT1 to TT10 for both the seniors and the juniors every year. Our selection for our national teams comes from those national championships. It's an event that's on our calendar, and our members are very keen to host it. Reason being, they receive a lot of support from their government, from local government, local sponsors. Para table tennis has also been integrated at regional level. In December, when we had our regional championships, Lesotho, Botswana and South Africa had athletes in the championships. So we very, very determined and very, very passionate about the inclusion process. Just the last point, we've also had the Down syndrome athletes participate in our events. We need to bring that community into the able structures as well. Thank you.
Yes, you are right. When, as I mentioned at the beginning, when we speak about integration, the integration of intellectually impaired athletes is normally, generally speaking, is something that it is usually behind in the process in most of the countries. But yeah, that's a very, very, very interesting topic also. Daniel, what about the Swedish Table Tennis Board and Sweden Parasport? How do you cooperate?
Yes, we have a very good cooperation with them. Actually, the National Paralympic Committee is the same organization as the Swedish Parasport Federation. So, of course, they wanted us to go over to the Table Tennis Federation. So, actually, nothing has changed with the relationship with the NPC after the integration. They help us with, of course, with fundings for our top athletes for Paralympic Games. They help us with educations for our top coaches. Also with junior tournaments like European Para Youth Games and so on. So our NPC is an important partner, and we work very well together. Mm-hmm. And the Parasport Sweden also helps a lot with the recruitment activities still, with all the sports, also the sports that have decided to go to their own sport federation.
Mm-hmm. I will stay with you, Daniel, for the next two questions. That should be quite simple. We would like to cover different specific examples of areas of integration, and we will see how it is working in each one of the three different representatives that we have here. For example, in Sweden, do para-athletes have any participation in the federation decision bodies? Are they present in the executive committee, athletes commission, or governing bodies? And who is officially responsible of organizing the national table tennis championships, the national para table tennis?
Yes. As I told before the integration 2017, one member from the Swedish table tennis committee was co-opted as a member of the board of the Swedish Table Tennis Association.
He's now still a member of the board, the executive board. And then also we have para players in referee committee, veteran committee, and so on. So we have people in our different committees. Yes. And also the question was who was organizing the table tennis championships?
Now the Swedish Table Tennis Association has all the para table tennis tournament, every tournament, also the national championship. And we are together. We have the senior championship, we have the junior championship, we have the veterans championship, and on every championship we have para table tennis classes.
Okay. Edimilson, what about Brazil? Is the Brazilian Confederation responsible of organizing the para leagues or para championships?
Yes, we're totally responsible for that. We make our national championships. As you know, we are a big country, and a part of the Brazilian national championships, we have regional competitions and local competitions. In all these competitions, the para table tennis are integrated. Okay, we work together in all levels.
And Hajera, in South Africa, I think that you mentioned the STTB, South African Table Tennis Board organizes the national championship. Is that right?
Sure, Pablo. Yes, we totally integrated. Yes.
Okay.
Pablo, just to add something else regarding this, it's also important to say, as soon as you are integrated, we give the opportunity to these para players to play with able body, so they can play their competition, and also those who have some level, they can play with able body. This is a way that make this integration more real, and also to give the opportunity to them to develop their level.
And what about the presence of para athletes in the decision bodies? Are they present in Brazil?
Yes, we have athletes commission. We have one person which is representing them, bringing all the requests and the things that we need to check and to see how we can help and to move forward.
And Hajera, in South Africa, is that also the same case? Do you have any para athlete in the decision bodies?
Yes, like Brazil, we have the Athletes Commission. So we have Stabile on our Athletes Commission. She's a member. We also have one of our vice presidents. You know, we structured like the ITTF vice presidents. The portfolio is Vice President Transformation and Development. Now in South Africa, transformation goes back to our past, so it's to ensure that everybody is given the opportunity to participate in our sport. So in this transformation portfolio is the youth, it's gender, and persons with disability. So yes, we very, very cognizant of the para sector of our sport, because it's a very, very important component of any sporting structure. We need to believe in inclusivity. We need to be seen to be practicing inclusivity, and we need to be doing that. So it's not easy always, but it's working for us at the moment. Thank you.
I will take the next question. Here and there we a little bit touch this topic, but we are interested to know about the training conditions. Namely, if para players in their member associations are able to practice in the same high performance centers? And also, what about the coaches? If coaches usually train able-bodied and para players? So I would like to address this question to Daniel first.
Yes, we have one national center actually for youth athletes from gymnasium, like 15 years old, and that center is also open for para athletes. And also we have like 6 or 7 regional centers, and also there it's open for para table tennis players. And we have like in total right now in the youth maybe 3 or 4 players at the regional or central gymnasium. And about the coaches, at the national team level right now we have the team, the para table tennis team, and no one is coaching any other national team or a national youth program, but in the past years we have coaches that are both in para national team and able-bodied national team for youth or juniors, and also all the coaches in the para team at club level, they coach also able-bodied players. So they are involved in both para table tennis and able-bodied table tennis.
Thank you. Understand. And what about in South Africa?
Thank you, Katarzyna. Yes, we the athletes with disability plays in our leagues. They are coached. For the men's team, the men and the junior boys, we have a coach that's dedicated to them, the para. They